All
What's going
right.
on, everybody?
Hey y'all. So I see hey Miss Vanessa.
Hey.
So we see Shaka and especially King J looking at me side-eyed because that intro hasn't been changed.
Nah, I wasn't tripping
Not
off that.
Shaka. I said mostly King J. Look at him.
Oh,
Well, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
So it is so good to see you, Miss Vanessa. Um so
I'm a
how's
little bit
everybody's week
nervous.
going? You nervous?
Yes.
What you gotta be
Nervous
nervous for? We having a
because
conversation.
I know.
We having a
I know.
conversation.
Well, Miss Vanessa, it ain't nothing to be nervous about. This is a platform that we're working to build to where you can be heard and voices can be heard, and that we can prepare not only tell our stories, but be able to prepare ourselves and know what's ahead of us, and learn how we can overcome these things and what can we do to change some of these things. Be the bridge between law enforcement and accountability, brutality, injustice for all. So that's why we're here. And so we want you to be comfortable, be yourself. Know that this is our Black media, and this is us, and it's all about us. So just be yourself. You're at home, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, briefly, tonight's show is Stand Your Ground Law. When following the laws become a crime. And Miss Vanessa, we spoke briefly. I know you had a more extensive conversation with King J, and you haven't met Shaka. So do you mind taking maybe the next 3 minutes to share your story of your daughter? Your sister. It's your sister, right?
No, it's my daughter,
Oh, I
Demia
apologize.
Mitchell. She was 17 when everything happened. Um, it's a situation where ex-girlfriend, new girlfriend, and they had issues with each other. How the love thing goes. So the new girlfriend, my daughter was the ex-girlfriend. So the other girl they was dealing with, she was trying to get her, how you want your belongings. So she was trying to get her things back. It had been going on probably a couple of weeks. They had been having issues with each other back and forth. So the day the incident happened was on Valentine's Day of was it 2020? 2021. They told her she can come over and get her things. She went to the home. She went with a group of her friends. And this is where I'm upset to where they label our Black kids as gang members when they're just friends. So since she went with her friends to get her things, she knocked at the door. The new girlfriend came to the door. Soon as she stepped out, she came out shooting.
Whoa,
Um,
whoa, 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 whoa. Slow
shot.
down, slow down. Wait, Miss Jackson, slow down. So the new girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
so your daughter goes to the house. The new
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, so we just gonna call her Y. So Y comes out shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to make sure we're all
She
clear.
came out.
Y shot
Yeah,
first though.
she came out.
Not
Why shot first? Not one time, multiple times. And my daughter was not on the property. Once she knocked at the door, she stepped out into the street. So the new girlfriend, Y, came out shooting. One of the friends that they was with started shooting back. Um, it was a gun. It was a shootout between the shooter and Y.
wow.
Shootout and scrambling to hard to get away. Y wind up getting shot one time because everybody thinks she got shot 19 times. She got shot one time up in her shoulder. So, long story short, with them being friends, they trying to cover for each other. The shooter that shot the one shot to kill Y, he's deceased now.
Wow.
So my daughter was the fall guy. So during the trial, when everything came out, they knew she wasn't the shooter. But I guess they wanted to get somebody to serve time for it. The whole trial was a circus. It was just from the beginning of the trial, you can see she wasn't the shooter. All the witnesses that the DA called stated she wasn't the shooter, that's not who they saw. One of the witnesses even said, I'm not going to send someone to prison that wasn't the shooter. That's not who, because they had her stand up and they said that's not who they saw. That's not who the shooter was. My daughter is 5'2". He said the shooter was 6'1", a black male.
Wow.
The people in the neighborhood that saw it, because they said they went around and came back shooting. They said when they came back, her daughter hang out the window and yell out, but she didn't have a gun. So during the deliberation, after the whole trial, after all the witnesses, during the deliberation, they couldn't find anything to find her guilty because they tried to charge her with felony murder, aggravated assault, gun charges. They couldn't find anything, so they came back and told the judge this, and he switched up the deliberation. So my attorney did get up and say, I object because I opened my opening, closing on how this indictment wrote up, and he overruled it. So then they came back and they found her guilty of voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, and they put false charges on her as gang terrorist charges, which my daughter is not in the gang. So not affiliated. So
let me
go ahead.
Let me cut in. Were your daughter in any previous trouble before this took place?
No, my daughter has never been in and out of their court system. My daughter is a typical teenager, never been in any trouble. Never. She doesn't have a record, none of that. This is the first incident that ever happened, and that's why I was so confused on how they sentence her, because I can understand if she's been a problem child, being in and out of the court system, in and out of jail. None of that. So he even stated when they were sentencing her, they were making an example out of her for the community. But I'm like, why use my child? My child hasn't been a problem for y'all. They found her not guilty of a firearm. They found her not guilty of murder. So how do you wind up with 140 years if you're found not guilty of murder and not having a firearm?
Well,
so
where are
I'm
you
confused
at,
Miss That was my next question. Where are you located?
Are you in Georgia?
Yeah, this happened in Gwinnett.
Okay, so you're right up the road. So, and we just had Stephanie join us as well. Diamonds is in the back on audio. And welcome, Stephanie. We are speaking with someone else who is dealing with the stand your ground law. So one thing is, over the last 20 years, females, brown and black women incarcerated has gone up by 700%. The second thing is, the reasons why Governor Kemp waged a war on gangs. So the reason why your daughter's probably being sentenced so heavily isn't because of the gun charge, not the murder charge, because if she beat those charges, it's because of the gang charge. And people don't realize that in Georgia, to be considered a gang. So you see Stephanie has on that gold skull cap, and I got these gold locks. And if I put my hood on and she put her hood on and we went out together, they could say, well, they're the yellow gang. They both had on yellow on their heads and hoodies on. And they could classify. It takes two people in Georgia to be classified as a gang. If me and Shaka both put on black, with King J and we were all black, we'd be classified as a gang. So a lot of that comes from that anti-gang stuff that they've been rolling it out, but they just rolled out new policy about a year and a half ago. So they got her jammed up with that probably.
They do have her jammed up with that, but the whole issue is we have evidence to where one of the so-called stated, I got so much evidence and everything that didn't come out in court. When they were interviewing one of the victims, she stated that no, they're a group of friends. And he said, oh, they're a gang. And she was like, no, they're a group of friends. And he was like, well, they're a gang. So it just hurts me to where these are girls that grew up from elementary. You see one, you see the other. If they're not in my house, they're at the other parent's house. They do their birthdays together. They do holiday. It's like they're friends. And I don't like how they label our kids when things happen as gang members, because it's white kids out here committing crimes, but you don't label them as gang members.
Right.
It's not fair. Even with why the victim, the deceased, they made it something it's not. They tried to say that it was a lover's quarrel. This is what it was. It was a lover's quarrel that went bad. But they're trying to say that she was trying to get initiated into a gang, to a higher rank. That's not what this was about at all.
So, Miss Jackie, have you since this taken place, since the sentence have taken place, have you worked to reach out to any private firm or any private organization or PI, perhaps you on her defense? Have you worked to have a professional to go in and be able to pull up these things, to be able to ask and submit for a retrial and things of that nature? Where's the standpoint like where we're at now with it?
We did, the lawyer that I did have, he did put in a motion for a new trial. I haven't hired a private investigator, but I have spoken with a private investigator. He has looked over everything, and he can see that they railroaded her. He can see it was a setup, because all the evidence, everything. It shouldn't even never been a trial, because the girlfriend removed the gun. She tampered with evidence.
Right. So it sounds like
when all this,
go ahead.
It should have been a mistrial. It shouldn't have never went to trial. So the steps we're taking now is just trying to reach out and get help. I'm confused on everything, the justice system. I'm just in a slump right now to where I'm trying to get a new trial. They haven't made a decision on a new trial. I've reached out to a lot of people, like organizations. It's just money wise, because I've lost a lot in the beginning of this, trying to get a lawyer and everything. I lost my home, to where I don't have my home or my baby. And it's like I'm just tapped out and I'm drained and I don't know what other steps to take.
I think the next steps, I can't, I think from my experiences, I believe the next step is, is, well, first thing, stay positive. The next step is to work to try to get to work towards the legal help. And there is, organizations, and in the way you speak, that they have these facts, and people have these, different witnesses that's willing to testify. So it seems that they have all the evidence and everything lined up. It's just now finding that our team, our organization that's willing to work with you. And that's kind of like why we have these shows. What we'll work to do is work to pass over some information for you. We're going to have General Shaka to speak on it, but some that there is organizations that's out there that will look into it, and they're going to investigate just like any other organization would investigate. Our agency, they're going to investigate. If they feel they have a case, they go further, with the evidence and things that you say you have, besides the game involvement or what have you, going back into the fact that, 100 and some years on, hey, this person wasn't even involved, then I think that there would be some legal help that's going to be needed. And so we're going to pass some information and trying to trade some information. But General Shaka, what's your input on this? And this is just what I feel, and Shantae, give your input, but I feel that she should aim towards some legal help and work to, get some people to kind of dig in and look back into these files and kind of go from there. This is just my opinion.
Yeah, that's the right approach. But my suggestion would be to, get some signatures, get some solid people that's going to have to go through the political change, because more than likely the people in the governor's office don't even have the slightest clue about this case. And so that's who's going to make the final judgment. And if it's enough signatures, if it's enough community support with some political muscle, that will push the envelope more than anything, because that sentence, not only to get the sentence reduced, but to get the entire sentence commuted at the least. That should be the goal for right now. And, that evidence has to be presented to the highest level, in the land, highest level of the course in the land, which is the governor's office. So it's going to have to take more, some muscle. Some people are going to have to make some connections with some politicians and some councilmen, mayors, and there has to be a lot of noise made. Cages have to be rattled in order for this to have any type of positive results or outcomes, because just lobbying in the neighborhoods and having these particular sessions and whatnot will not that's not good enough in the case of somebody serving 145 years. That has to go to that's going to have to go to the highest level that it can go to. And that's just my suggestion, because I'm here in Washington, D.C., but I can do whatever it takes to.
So, I have a lot of words to say about this. Like this, there's so many wrongs, in the world of bad and wrong. There's so many wrongs in this case. Now I do have connections with the actual DA's office in Gwinnett County. Was she sentenced in Gwinnett County?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can pick up the phone and call someone that's direct to the DA in Gwinnett County. Now, if she's going to do something, we can hold her to account too. because the thing is, how I feel about my connections are they're not above nor beneath being held accountable.
And I
For
think we need to just again
hold up, Jay. So they're not above nor beneath being held accountable, because the reality is when we start electing people to have our best interests at heart, and when we put people in these positions, we got to hold them to account, because they become the gatekeepers for the Governor Kemps. They become just as equally guilty of not serving up justice, because if we play that system of this is my friend, so I don't want to apply pressure, instead of applying that pressure because you know that that's the gatekeeper, that's one of the points of contact, we have to do that. You know, Shaka, when we first met, I was like, hold my uncle to account, you know, this is his name. And then I told my uncle in DC. So it's like we have to not only just say, oh, this isn't right, but if we can do something, we have to do something. You know, there is something criminalistic about us staying silent in moments where we're supposed to be vocal and verbal. There is something missing when we know that this girl is serving. It don't matter, girl, boy, man, woman, the fact that she's labeled as a gang member just because of the color of her skin. If it was 5 white boys, nobody would call them gang members. But because it's a group of Black kids who choose to hang out together to practice unity, no matter what the situation is, they're labeled as gangs. So this conversation about cross-cultural dialogue. And go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
I want to say this too. When they label our kids, this is the way we raised our kids, to be in groups. Your first date, you go on a group date. We raised our kids, you don't go anywhere without a friend. So now they're being labeled and treated as if something bad to hang together and protect each other. That's how I was brought up. You go with your sister, you go with your brother, you go with somebody when you going to do something to protect yourself.
Someone you trust, someone that's loyal, or they end up like that girl in the young Black girl that they just killed.
So let me ask this. You know, now this is probably some key pivotal information. Now, what gang? Who's the initiator? Who's the recruiter of that particular gang? What's the name of the gang? And why, you know, it was never taken in consideration that this sister never had a jaywalking ticket, never been in trouble. Because usually gang members, it's a process to lead to being into a gang. You have to go through juvie. You gotta, you have to do a couple of carjackings. You have to do some joyriding. You have to be involved before you even can get to the level of being initiated, before they even consider that. So, and
and that's where I'm so confused, to where they got she did a TikTok video with the girl, the ex-girlfriend. You know how they do the little videos, dancing and throwing up the West Side. She did that. They used that to say she was in the game by herself doing a TikTok video.
Did they charge her on the state level or the federal level?
State.
That's better.
They can't use that as evidence because that's federal information.
That's
right.
What they
that's RICO.
What they use. That's what they use. They had an so-called expert gang detective. What was it? Some kind of gang member specialist, and he used that video to state she was in the gang.
The gang task force.
Yeah, they started an anti-gang task force here.
But she's been
that. You don't have to have a gang name or anything. You just have, if If all four of us were having
you
the same
use
conversation,
the
they could
video,
say
yeah,
rape again. And that's enough in Georgia.
Well, Miss
and
Jackie,
that's why I'm upset because. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I mean, I want to allow you to express yourself first.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm upset because
it's go ahead. We're listening.
I'm upset because these are girls, young girls that I have known since they were in the 4th grade. And all of them stated, because everything they had, it shows that they weren't in gangs. All of them stated she wasn't in the gang. It like I said, there's so much evidence that we have to show that everything they charged her with is false. Even with the shooting, we have evidence of where it was known it was a shootout, but it was told it couldn't get out. We can't let this out that it was a shootout. So it's so much stuff to where they set my baby up, and it's like, why would you do this to a child? She 18 years old, and you give a child 140 years when you know none of this is true.
So, Miss Jackson, Jay, Shaka, on that note, we're about to take a commercial break. When we come back from commercial, I don't know if Miss Diamonds is ready to go or not. We're going to find out. We got about 5-10 minutes, Diamonds, for it. But we about to go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
What I was saying.
So just quickly, if anyone's interested in being an advertiser or a sponsor, check out Our Black Media Network, or send us an email. We're always looking for advertisers and sponsors. Now we are back. Jay, Shaka, Miss Jackson.
Miss Jackson, what I want to say and what I work to always say, you know, I've worked to try to be a pretty much cut and dry, you know, guy. What I would do is, you know, take this evidence that you say you have, round all that evidence up, get it together. You do have access to requests for this information, so you know, get the information that you need, round up the evidence that you say you have, get that evidence, and once you bundle up those things, allow myself and maybe a few others to be able to get this in the hands of some professionals, allow them to look into it. And if the professionals that I know that's professionals that I can get it over to, if they feel that there is a case there, if they feel that something can be done, if that's something we can fight for, again, once they cross all the T's and dot the I's, we know that there's many his story, her story, and their story in the truth. So I get it over to some professionals, allow those professionals to look at it. And if those professionals feel like, hey, this is worth even going further, because it's always worth the fight and getting it over to some professionals. And again, if it's something that they're willing to go forward with, that's what I would be willing to do. And that's my intake on it all is, it seems that you have a lot of evidence. Your T's and your I's crossed. I would like to put that evidence in front of some professionals and allow them to give their opinion on it and go from there on my behalf.
Right. That's good, man.
Okay.
It's
That
good.
is good. And
I
I'm gonna
appreciate
say
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna say this. And this is all due respect. This is because I love King J, and I'm gonna say this. That is so rose-colored glasses. I need the King J with the guns ready to go rally and
Absolutely.
protest.
And that's what we have to do. These are things that we have to do before we take that initial approach. We have
Right.
to
Wait. Hear me when I
we can't
wait.
just go off and hey, the
I'm
ice
not
cream is
saying
vanilla, you lick it, it's vanilla.
I'm not saying for you to go hit the streets, boots on the ground. But what I'm saying is, it sounds real good. When you are in Georgia, I'm not saying that every political system isn't corrupt, but
That's
in
right.
Georgia, the problem ends up being in some states, you have at least that one black official that you can go to because they look like you and you know they're going to fight for you.
Absolutely.
We have such a corrupt political system here, especially in Atlanta and the surrounding area, that all of this is rhetoric. You would be surprised at who sits on the different governors' committees. The governor has different committees that represent different people in different situations here. So this Georgia, Atlanta is networking and it's cliques and it's political.
I understand. It's like
And
that
it's
everywhere.
wait. It is like that everywhere.
Mhm.
And this is a political season. Kemp just got reelected. That Herschel Walker Warnock situation, like this is the time to rattle some cages of some of these people who are sitting there hoping to get back in office.
I totally agree. Well, on my behalf, Miss Jackson, is what I speak from the standpoint that I speak from is I hear your story. I hear you. And from what it sounds to me, I'm not a professional in that area. That's not my top title. But again, my job is to work to fight and do all I can do to not stop the fight. I would have to investigate myself. I would have to have some professionals to investigate their selves and then go from there if there's a case to be rattled. There's never a case that we shouldn't work to rattle, but I have to go from a professional standpoint because we still have a livelihood. And so when I speak from that cloth standpoint, with Miss Shantae say, it's because at the end of the day, I have to still put it in front of some professionals. And when I get on the ground, I tend to get on the ground when I know that, hey, this right here is the bottom line. And Mrs. Shaka, what's your input on that?
No, I agree with you 100% because it's levels and methods to this madness.
Absolutely.
Even though, based on the information that we've gotten from Miss Jackson, that that little girl was used as a political pawn and a power piece for somebody to move around the judicial circle, and because that's what it appears to me, and they do that everywhere around these type of seasons. If you're caught in the madness, or if your numbers pick, not even your numbers pick, because you never had a number, but if that particular case is chosen to score big on your scorecard, to move in the judicial circle, then unfortunately you have those who are going to be tried unfairly, that are going to be over sentenced, that are going to be misused and abused in the system, that it's going to be so hard and difficult, to try to, bring these cases back. But what you were saying as far as, level one, you got to start somewhere, and you take the information, and then you pass it on, then it's passed on. Shantae has a lot of political pull. She knows some people. So you use those proper steps and work as a unit. And then the goal is, see, once again, those people in the governor's mansion, they have no idea. All they see is the new faces coming in, the new blood is coming in terms of positions, and sometimes they will tell you what you want to hear, just to give you some false hope. Then we come the next level. It has to be more intense.
That's
You
right.
know, okay, now we done knocked on the door. We've asked y'all quietly to review this case. Okay, now y'all slam the door. Now we're gonna come through the window. You know,
That's right.
we're gonna do something else this time to get your attention. You know, to this is the wrong one. In other words, y'all made a mistake. Y'all capitalized off the mistake. Y'all got your positions. Now let them people go. Because the conviction is a conviction. That just gets you in the circle. They don't, even if it's overturned, you still on your record is still, according to prosecutors, that still goes on their scorecard. So it makes no difference if a person gets released, makes parole, gets the sentence overturned, they still moving. But sometimes, I mean a lot of times, they get to, a lot of innocent people have to suffer and be political sacrifices and scapegoats for other people to move in these judicial circles to seal and build the wall around those who are tried unfairly and unjust. That's why I enjoy this show. I've seen Shantae and Jay, y'all have opened a lot of doors and given a lot of people some, a breath of fresh air and some hope to give them something to work towards. So, but the people got to follow protocol. They have to be clear and have patience, and have patience.
Yeah. And I just want to say this real quick because I agree with I agree with everything that King J said. I agree with everything that you said, Shaka. I was just surprised that the approach to King J was like, we got to think positive, woosah. And I was surprised by that. That's why I was no, we need the old King J. We need to rattle some cages. But I just want to say this. In Georgia, this is something that people don't know. If you Google how many judges we have, the number's going to come up to 400 and some odd judges. That number is not accurate. We have over 1,500 judges in every court in Georgia. Over 1,300 of those 1,500 are white males. Of those 1,300, not even the 13, of the 1,500, every city, every county in Georgia, you are not required to be a lawyer to be a judge. So you have some people, all that you're required, people don't know this, to run for office, and I ran for office before, you are required to have 90 days out to show that you lived at the same address for a year, to pay your fee, and that's it. That's qualifying. To show that you've been at the same address a year and to pay your fee. You don't have to have any other credentials to run for office and to be a judge. And they made it so that Fulton County, with the city of Atlanta, you do have to be a lawyer to be a judge, but not every county in Georgia. So I don't know about Gwinnett, but you could be someone. All you have to do is be able to fundraise and get your name on the ballot so that people vote for you. You could have worked as a police officer. You could have worked in insurance. You may not have ever worked a day in your life. And now you're a judge and you have no relationship to the actual laws. You don't know the law. You haven't practiced law and you aren't familiar with what the law actually says. And these are people who are being appointed as judges in the state of Georgia, which is why 1 out of 4 people in the state of Georgia have been incarcerated before. Because we have people who don't know the law sentencing people.
Dang. You go through more than that.
Go ahead.
No, I was getting ready to say you go through more than that in DC. You got to go through more than that in DC just to get food stamps. Seriously.
No, I was saying my daughter just called in and she wanted to speak. If y'all wanted to
Yes,
have
allow her
her
to come
speak.
in. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Let's
send
do
her the
that.
link,
Let's do
and
that now.
we'll pull her in. Send her the link.
No, this is Demia Mitchell. She's on the
Yeah,
phone right
this
now.
will be a video call. You can bring her in if we can hear her. If you can put her on speaker, we would like to let her know that we are rooting for her.
Okay.
That if
Demia,
she give us okay.
say hello for see if they can hear you.
Hello?
Can y'all hear her?
We can.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear us? Okay. We want you to know that we are rooting for you. We want you to know that we are rooting for you. We want you to know that you are loved, and we want you to know that you do matter. We want you to know that we are going to look into these things and we're going to get it over to some professionals and do all that we can do. Don't feel that you are alone. Know that you are not alone, and know that the fight is here for you. We are going to do everything that we can do. Good thing about it is that I live in the Georgia area. So we're going to do everything that we can do. We're going to get people to look into it. We're going to ask people to look into this. And if they don't look into it, we're going to demand people to look into this. But we will make sure that you're not there if you don't supposed to be there. And that's what I want to make sure that you understand, that we know there's some long days and some long nights, but you are not alone.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's hard in here. It do get hard. I do get lonely, and I just feel like, giving up. But I'm focusing on the bigger picture.
Don't give up. Just and try to remain infraction free. Don't give them any ammunition to reject any type of reconsiderations or any type of appeals or anything of that nature. If you can help it, if you can help it, I know I've been there. So I've had a 30-year sentence, and so I know how difficult it is to try to navigate through a whole bunch of madness and insanity. But try to stay positive and keep yourself mentally busy and spiritually intact. Try to just read novels, read books, try to stay out of the way. Keep your faith, because I'm in Washington D.C. talking to you. So you have people outside of Georgia that's gonna try to do whatever it takes to try to get you back on the ground. So you just stay positive and motivated. Don't talk your case to nobody. It's nobody else's business. Remain humble, you know, um, and protect yourself.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure you don't have to worry about that. So just keep your mind flowing. Don't stay in your head. Don't stay in your head. Don't go up there. Let us do that for you. Just remain focused.
Yeah. So my words of wisdom, and I'm previously, I'm justice involved as well. I turn hard when I go. I don't recommend that. I recommend you getting a piece of paper and asking someone that you trust for a piece of paper and pen and documenting everything. So I know that sometimes the days will pass and you don't even know what day it is. You don't know what's going on in the outside world. So little things like writing down what you saw on the television. Like if it's a TV show and an episode, like that's how I used to count my days, because I'd look at what am I watching on television. They usually don't let you watch the news, but they'll put up some BS movie that can show what day it was. So track your days, track what's going on that way. Write down if they're giving you your sanitary napkins. Write down if they're taking your clothes while you're on your cycle. Write down if they're feeding you. You're supposed to get 3 meals a day, even if they're not adequate meals. But sometimes they like to do things like not feed you for days and weeks at a time. So write down every little thing that happens while you're incarcerated. Write down if, like, I'd have people bringing me magazines because they wouldn't give me anything to read. because this way you can track your grievances. Like if they won't give you anything to read, they're also not going to give you a grievance form so that you can actually request that they get investigated for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if you track it this way, then that will help you to be able to have a case in addition to everything that we'll be fighting for out here in the free world for you. Write down if they actually let you out of that cell for an hour. They've changed the laws recently where they're supposed to let you out for 4 hours. I don't know if that's on a statewide level, but I know the jails is supposed to be 4 hours because they said it messes with your mental health. So if they, because sometimes they'll only let you out for like 5 minutes and they'll try to convince you that it's an hour. But you know, it's only been one commercial break. So, you know, it hasn't been a whole hour. So just track everything, every little detail like that you can remember. And just remember, if you do get in a position where you start hallucinating or you get delusional or you get suicidal or homicidal, write it down. If they strip your beds, if they take everything out your cell, don't fight back because they can make it worse. And just keep a level head at all times. Boss up. I ain't saying to lay down. You got to boss up in there.
Black power.
You know, you got to boss up in there, especially when dealing with the other inmates. You can't be nobody's BI. But just remember that you are looking to be free again. And
We 48 minutes in, 48:07 in. Young Queen, can you please just give us some input? What's on your heart? How you feeling? And what would you like to say to the world right now?
I'll be home soon. Everything gonna work out in the end. I'm staying prayed up. I hope everybody else staying prayed up out there. And yeah, I'm gonna come out greater than I came in.
Yeah.
All right.
You're going to change the world and rewrite laws.
We're right here in Georgia. If we got to start making some noise outside the cell, and you know we out there, I want you to know, Queen, that we're gonna look into this. And that's what I hope you can hear my bullhorn and say, that's damn King J out there.
And I ain't afraid to go to jail. I ain't afraid to run for office either, but I'll take charge while running for office. So I got you.
We need the information. We need.
Yeah, that's right. Shaka, collaborate on that because we 49-17 in. Can you collaborate on that?
Yeah. We need her inmate number and where she's located. You know, so she can develop some correspondence. And once them people see that she's getting mail from different parts of the country, it's gonna you can make that's shock value. Because they, to let them know just not someone around the way that's local, that people from different parts of the country, Maryland, Virginia,
Not
DC,
swept under the rug. Right.
Yeah, when they see where those addresses and different states they're coming from, things like that begin to rattle cages.
And it matters when you're incarcerated.
Yeah, it does.
The more letters you get, the more correspondence, the more you talk on the phone, the less likely that it is that those COs will fuck with you because they know that you have support. They know you're not in this by yourself.
Let me say this briefly. I had a friend that was deported to Jamaica, back to Jamaica, and tried to escape from Jamaica. And let me tell you, with those letters and that support nationwide, and read while you there and learn these laws, but that outreach is huge. So I don't want to cut you guys off, but I just want to collaborate on the outreach is huge. Yep. I know people that have got out of ISIS because of the outreach in a simple letter.
Yep. So we all need to do our part and reach out. Sis, I hate that you're going through this, and all I say is you're doing the right thing. like you said, you prayed up. The thing about incarceration is,
Pass your other test, Mia.
ma'am, Miss Vanessa.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna just say the thing about
Go
incarceration,
ahead.
it'll bring out that beast of God in you. So I hope it brings out the beast of God in you.
Okay.
Brother
Like
Shaka,
that.
what's your last
Anything
words?
else you want to say, Mia?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's I'll be having so much to like. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Well, we're
That's
fighting
good.
for you.
Go ahead, Shaka, collaborate. I want to hear from you because you're a general. You're speaking to an official, a general out of the Black Panther Party, Brother Shaka. So you know that you got the Black Panthers out here that's on your team, and we didn't know, but we hear now. Your mother allowed us to hear you, and so go ahead, Brother Shaka.
Yeah, when she said that she didn't know what to say, that means she has a lot to say. You know, I know how it is being confined. So actually, that's a good thing. You know, because that's she just got enough energy to motivate her to keep fighting. So I know how it is. I've been in solitary for almost a half of a year. Guards have broken my legs. I've been through all of that. Stabbings, hunger strikes, riots, the whole nine. So, I know that the energy that she's receiving today is going to be fuel for her from all of us that's on this show and those in the chat that she's gonna be okay, and whatever it takes, that's what it's gonna take.
Yeah.
Black Power.
She's just overwhelmed. She's grateful that she has the type of support.
Go ahead, Mia.
I do want to say though that through all of this, I can't say my mama has held everything down to the fullest. Like, she ain't gave up on me, and I appreciate that so much. I just love her so much for doing this for me, trying to get me home and just stand by my side. Cause it's hard. I'm not the only one doing time. I know she's doing time with me, so yeah. I just want to say.
I love you, baby.
Mama, how could if any of our viewers that's listening and want to support your daughter and want to send to her, want to write her, or even want to donate to her just to give her a good hygiene month, how could they do that?
Do you see? Do you see where it says comments? If you could type right there in the comment, we can put it across the screen.
If you could just put how to send money, whether it's Cash App or whatever, to support your daughter, if you can do that. And Queen, we would just want to hear anything else that you want to say. I mean, I'm interested in hearing from you. Mia?
They can send money to me, Mom. They can send it to you on Cash App. I don't want to.
Okay, well, they write you.
My MA number is 100-315-717 Mitchell with 2 L's, and I'm at Lee Arundel State Prison.
You at Lee Arundel?
What is it, 709?
Can you repeat that? Can we repeat?
And Miss Vanessa, make a note.
315.
She cutting out. Can we repeat it one more time? We 55 in.
Mia Mitchell. All right. 100-315-173. Mia Mitchell. And I'm.
What's that, Leah? What's the name of the?
Did y'all get it?
There, is that it right there? We got 4 minutes left. And I'll say this too. Lee Arendelle
Can we get that information? Miss Shantae, host, could you please get
I just put it into the comments.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, Miss Jackson, when you talk to your lawyer, Lee Arendelle prison isn't supposed to be open right now. There were a lot of civil rights violations, and there was a problem with the water causing cancer. Lee Arendelle,
Cut out.
there's a couple of
wow.
female prisons in Georgia where if you look them up, they say closed because they don't meet code violations or code ordinances, and really they're operating them as open prisons. And I want to say Lee Arendelle is the one that had the water violation. I'll find that out for you. So thank you for being our guest.
1 minute.
Yep. Thank you for being our guest. King J, thank
Okay,
you
I
for
want to
calling.
come on again and y'all reach out to me.
Oh, this conversation ain't over. You hold the line. We gonna pass.
You family now. We coming to a barbecue. You family now.
My mama ain't cooking chitlins till Christmas, so I'm coming to your house. I see them wood blinds in the back.
I love your daughter energy
I
and
love
her
you too,
spirit.
baby. Call back if you can.
All right. Tell them I said thank you.
You're welcome.
I love her energy. I love
She
her
said
energy.
thank you.
and
They
spirit.
hear you.
Yeah. We got you.
All right, baby. Call back if you can.
All right.
Thank y'all for a good episode of Unjust. Hold the line, and this has been Unjust.
It's been good.
like that.